So once upon a time, there was a startup. Once upon a time, there's a startup, and the startup basically, if you have a startup, what do? Normally, a startup is an idea, right? Okay, you create an idea, and you have funding that helps you actually get that idea to the market. You probably won't think about people, because really what you do is you actually use yourself to actually build that product and take it to the market. Now the biggest challenge is, normally people get that idea out there, they validate it, they test it, and so on. Now you are successful, you've got that concept successful and being implemented out there. The biggest challenge is, how do you actually scale that idea? How do you take it to the next level? This is where a lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the startup fails, because they know where they want to go. Basically, they build a strategy to scale, to take that product to the next level. They have a great execution plan. That's where the funding comes in. Okay, so I have a great idea. I know where I want to take that idea to. I have an execution plan. I've got funding that actually will help me execute that plan, take it to the next level. The biggest challenge that we face is, how do you actually get this done? How do you go out and seek the people that have the passion to work with you to execute the plan? That's where all startups fail, because they really don't have they don't have the issue or the mandate or the know-how to build an organization. Because you are a startup, you're an entrepreneur, you have not studied HR in schools, you have not built that skill set. This is where the execution challenge happens, because all ideas are great, you have great plans, and you really fail because there's no way on earth you can actually execute the plan yourself. So you have to have the maturity and the intelligence to know that I have to hire people that are even sometimes better than me, smarter than me, to actually help me execute that plan. So this is where really 80% of startups fail, because they cannot find the means to actually scale up their organization. So what do? We have to understand the concept of competencies. Competencies is a combination of attributes, knowledge, and skills. So by defining, how do I actually can define what competencies I need as a company, as a startup, to help me execute my plan, you will be able to start to think about building a small organization that can help you execute that plan, that can kind of guarantee that success to you, help you at least minimize the risk of failing. So how do we define competencies? How do we actually basically go out and find competencies? We basically look at, so it's as simple as that. What is the things that are key for me to be able to execute that plan? What are the specific skill set, cultures, behaviors? I mean, Steve Kovac talks about motivation. People who have the motivation, who wanted to actually be part of that organization. We were talking to basically a designer, a creative designer, who wanted to work with us because he understands the level of culture that we have put in place. So how do we actually define these competencies? We actually very clearly go through that level of behavioral indicators. So when we go talk about leadership, so we need leadership in our company. What kind of leadership? How do we define leadership in a company like Atbaki, which is a content provider? So by doing that, we basically start to build what we call a competency map. And how do we actually use these competency map? We use them by actually, as we start to hire people, we start to benchmark these competencies with the people we hire. But more importantly, as you start to actually, because what is very important for you is the relevancy of the organization. So as you start to scale that organization and start to actually deliver products, you want to make sure that your team, the 5 people, the 6 people, the 10 people you hired, continue to be relevant to the technology, to the field, to the industry. So you use these competencies actually to benchmark between what these people have today and where they need to be from a competency perspective. So as a company, what do I need to have inside that company apart from the money? What skill set, what cultures, what know-how I need to have? And accordingly, you start to benchmark and assess people on a scientific method, and then help them develop their talent development plan, their skill development plan over the years. So you continue to be relevant with these people. So what is Atbaki core competence? Just as an example, these are some of the competencies we have identified as a company, okay, that we go out and hire our people and continue to develop them to excel in these competencies. So, I mean, these could be generic, right? Communication, planning, organization, but what's very important, if we look at one of these competencies, so we have a very clear definition of each competency. So what do we mean by accountability and ownership? What does accountability and ownership means in our company? But more importantly, how do actually people practice accountability and ownership? What do they do inside the company to actually practice ownership and accountability? He or she held self and other accountable for rules and responsibility. So we actually measure that. We assess and actually find ways to do that. By doing this, by defining these behavioral indicators, you will be able to actually find and tell people what you expect from them, but more importantly, how they can excel, how they can actually become not only employees, but really genuine contributor in your success. They know where they want to go, they know how they're helping the company, but more importantly, they know what it takes them to do that. Last but not least, it's all about the people. Success is all about the people. Everybody has great ideas. Everybody can get cash. We're in 331. There's abundance of cash. But what really makes a difference between a company succeeding and a company not succeeding, if you're a startup, is your ability to be able to build an organization that can help you deliver on your execution plan. What is very important is when you hire people, you know, the CEO of Cisco, for example, has this great saying, when I hire people that are smarter than me. So have this in your mind when you're hiring people as a startup. Hire people that are smarter than you, that can actually help you become more rich, because that's the name of the game. So it's all about the people, and that's what really makes the difference between a successful company and not. Thank you very much.